let's jump into some big Supreme Court news because there's a lot of individuals that are really waiting for this afternoon or this evening's ruling. You know that the Supreme Court is due to rule this afternoon, actually, I think this morning, on Trump's tariffs, if they are constitutional, which Supreme Court has been ruling favorably in his favor. So I'm assuming, let's predict yes. Y Combinator this afternoon, or I guess in the last 24 hours, retweeted Common Gap. It's an app specifically from a company called Deep24. It's a single app for college and graduating high school students to apply to take a gap year at fast-growing startups. Participating companies include Corgi Insurance. There's a few handful of companies, but it's a concept called Common Gap to help students do that. And I can tell you, my son, when he graduated high school, he did that. That was like a big deal. And he did that himself. And so I feel like, I don't know, that's just a really cool way of doing it. When you graduate, you don't really have, thanks, Justin, back in. So the gap year, let the kid do it. I mean, honestly, what 18, 19-year-old actually knows what the heck they want to do? They don't, bro. They don't. Okay. So let's be cool. Stay in school, right? But if you don't dig school, go hang out and go do something else. Go hang out with people. It'll change your life. In the news today, reported by Benzinga, Americans could be heading into the largest tax refund season ever. Okay. Officials say refunds should rise 1,000, 2,000 for many households in the upcoming filing year. Big news for us. Okay. But that's how Trump is, man. Before he left the very first term, right at the beginning of COVID, and they had the COVID stimulus checks. Do you remember back in the day that boy got his signature on the checks? Oh, he did. Okay. So just keep that in the back of your mind. That guy likes the tension. And so, but here's the thing. Most of the time, when you get to that age, you're at that level, you want to be remembered for good stuff, even though maybe in your younger years, you're kind of a dirtbag. But he's pushing for that stuff, and giving money back to the people, the working class, I feel is a good move, right? In the news today, Bloomberg is reporting Boeing faces another challenging year in its comeback. This is from CEO Kelly Ortberg, told employees while lauding the progress the U.S. plane maker has made to recover from a series of crises. Yeah, man, it is weird. You see these giant companies, huge companies that just somehow disappeared, and you're like, I don't really get it, and so I don't know. It's these huge, enormous companies that were so powerful during their day just kind of fade into the wayside, and they just become obsolete and ordinary and boring. And when you're no longer innovating, you're trying to cut corners, and you're no longer hiring the best of the best of the best, that's going to be a problem, man. That's going to be a big problem for the big fortune companies because of their focus the last 10 years, 5 years specifically. In the news today, Bloomberg is reporting that OpenAI and Anthropic see healthcare as next big market for AI. And we were talking about that yesterday. This is one of those things where, to be honest with you, when you understand that so much of medicine is now done through like the telemedicine, and it's all done that way, then you understand that what they're looking at is decision tree programming, right? So it's like, okay, if you answer yes, then the person over the phone is reading off of a screen, then do X, do Y. Okay. But that's already been programmed already that all these companies use. Why in the world? This is going to just be standardized where before a doctor, and now you have huge industries that are protected by these associations and by these degrees and certifications. So, it's not like you're going to get rid of doctors. Okay. But what will happen is there's going to be basically mandates, or it's going to be common practice that, did you, go through AI, or what's probably going to be is the patient walks in and says, here's my report. What's your report say? Like, transparency is coming at a rate we've never seen before. I'm telling you right now. In the news today, Bloomberg is reporting that New York Governor Kathy Hochul and New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani announced a new investment to provide free childcare for all 2-year-old children in New York. Woot and a woot. Woot, 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 woot. That's a big woot, woot for me. And it's not because I believe in big government paying for all things. Nope, don't believe in that. But until you grow up in the working class, right? And all my mom and pop venti shops that are on with me right now, you know what I'm talking about. If your state said, hey, if your income was between X and Y, how about free childcare for your kids? Or reduce, kind of the way Obamacare is. You get subsidized funding. You get what I'm saying? Like I know, depending on what side you lean on, it's bad. But in the end, if your mindset when you wake up every day is helping people suffer less, does this not help people suffer less? Again, I'm not talking about anything about social services, none of that. I'm just talking about the concept of helping the working class pay for childcare. You get what I'm saying? And you understand that childcare increases, those rates increase every year way, way, way above inflation. You know that, right? Most people don't get pay raises unless you work for a big company or some type of government slash, municipality, something like that. But most companies don't. It's difficult, man. It's difficult. The working class, my mom and pop venti shops, they know what I'm talking about. In the news today, Fast Company defense stocks are surging after President Trump called for a massive 1.5 trillion defense budget for 2027. 1.5 trillion. Now, here is what nobody is telling you. Is that 1.5 trillion? That, and you're like, oh my gosh, we just can't stop spending money. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. But you understand that money actually, they spend it back with American companies. So it literally does this. Whoop. Okay. The government puts 1.5 trillion into, think about it. Okay. L3, Lockheed, Northrop Grumman. I don't know, like the biggest companies that all work with small business for supplies. Because these big companies basically are aggregators of parts. Okay. They basically get the contract. It is their job to source all the parts. And they've got 1 billion suppliers that supply them. Little mom and pop shops like us supply companies like Lockheed and Boeing and Northrop Grumman and L3, big companies. Okay. And so when 1.5 trillion, it's not like, you have to understand, money is spent in 2 ways. Okay. So when money leaves your bank account, it can only go in one of 2 paths, only one of 2. And it looks like it's an expense both ways. It's not. Okay. So a dollar bill leaves and never comes back. That's an expense. But if a dollar bill leaves and 3 come back or 7 come back with his, with the dollar, like that dollar leaves and he brings 4 or 5 of his friends back, that's an investment. So you might spend the money. You can spend the money on an expense or you can spend the money on an investment. So you can spend 1.5 trillion, but in defense, that comes back. Okay. Trust me, I've done retirement planning for over 20 years. I have a zillion of those engineers as clients, and they're taken care of, right? And it's not just them. Everybody at those companies is taken care of, right? So that's the reason why you always hear about these companies are too big to fail. It's not because they're too big to fail. It's because they directly affect the working class. And we are the ones, the blue collar, working class, mom and pop venti shops. We are the ones that support the economy because we spend the money. Okay. That's what we do. We spend, we make it, we spend it. Right. So just kind of understand, it's baked into the plan. So don't be too stressed out. In the news, Forbes is reporting mid-level managers are often the most powerful people in the room. And this is true without question. You guys know, I talk about it often. 1996, Jeff Bezos started publicly posting his email at Amazon. Amazon was 2 years old, and he started publicly posting Jeff at Amazon.com or Jay Bezos at Amazon.com. And because of that, he ended up getting direct feedback from his customers. And Jeff Bezos really was the first one who normalized level 2 management. Level 2 management is a very simple concept that I came up with years ago. I say I came up with it. I don't know if anybody's ever said it, But what it is whoever your customer is dealing with, if they that individual at your organization is not helping or fixing the problem, then the very next person they talk to is the highest level decision maker, which in the mom and pop venti shops tends to be us as the owners. Okay. And so I put that in place years ago with speakwithaaron.com after I read what Jeff did with Amazon. The company that's got the closest unfiltered ear to the customer wins. The organization with the closest unfiltered ear to their customer wins. Amazon gets this. All tech companies get this. That's why they've got places everywhere. Drop us a comment. Tell us what you think. Walmart, you ever use their self-checkout? What's the very last thing that happens? Rate our service 1 to 5 stars. Direct the closest unfiltered ear to the customer wins. Okay. So now you get it. Okay. Mid-level managers, they're the most powerful people because they take that information and based on their ego, which is not egotistical. Ego is how you identify the world. You will spin that in different ways. So you listening right now, mom and pop venti shop owner, you're the business builder that is on today. It is so important that you have direct access to your customers, not through managers. Not through managers. I'm telling you right now, it's one of the biggest mistakes small business makes. In the news today, Bloomberg is reporting Americans had some questions about the Trump administration, about those guidelines. We're talking about it. We've got those reversed food pyramid, which just, again, blowing my mind. All right. In Bloomberg news today, President Donald Trump cuts the federal workforce in 2025, hit every major agency last year, including cabinet departments, education, housing, treasury, taking the brunt of the downsizing, according to government data released Thursday. So the crazy thing is this is as a mom and pop venti shop owner, we all have a very clear understanding that the rules the government plays are not the rules that we play by. Us mere mortals. So we're talking about mortals and those of this that are immortal. So we're mortal, they're immortal. Okay, so us mere mortals have to do things like budget and make sure that we profit and make sure we pay our taxes and make sure we do all this stuff. But the government, since the beginning of time, and I don't know if it's never not been like this, but every year at the end of the year, all government agencies down from the state level, like the local city level, okay, all the way up, have one job: spend their budget so they get more money next year. If you don't, your budget's cut for your department. Don't you think that these employees should be rewarded the same way like publicly traded companies are? What if the employee basically was like internal shareholders of this? So like meaning you get what you incentivize, right? I mean, Pavlov's dog, right? So if you go to the federal government and say, okay, guys, company wide, here's the good news. Whatever you guys save us this year, we take 10% of that and it becomes bonuses for you guys and we give every quarter. So what you save at the end of the year, what you've saved for 2025, that percentage, that amount, okay, is the percentage of your bonus for the year. So if you trim 25% out of the budget, okay, we'll give you guys a 25% bonus on your pay for next year. And how much you cut every year is how much your bonus is. And that has nothing to do with the normal inflation adjustments or your performance evals and stuff like that. Because publicly traded companies, the reason why they do it is because their number one responsibility is to their shareholders. Profit, making money. Why are we not doing this for corporate America? I have no idea. Makes no sense. Literally, do you actually think that the budget would be where it's at if we actually did this? Of course we wouldn't. Of course we wouldn't. Okay, let's not be silly. All right. In the news today, General Motors, it's reporting in Bloomberg, it's going to take a $6 billion charge tied to the cutback of their electric vehicles. To be honest with you, General Motors has been floating around aimlessly in the sea of tranquility for decades. To be honest with you, they make some of the most brilliant products, period. But they just have the worst marketing campaign I've ever seen. Like, let me just give you an example. One of the greatest cars they ever came out with, I think they actually spent $1 billion in R&D and innovation when they launched the Chevy Volt with a V, Victor. Brilliant. I love that car. I had the car. It was the first car where everything you did was like under 50 miles. You never went to the gas station. But, and people were like, oh, it's a hybrid. It wasn't a hybrid. It was an electric car that had a gas generator that would charge the battery when the battery got low. So it was really an electric car with a gas generator. So once the miles were out, then you would literally just turn around and drive. And then when you ran out of gas, you just filled the gas station. Like it was like that. So brilliant. But the worst marketing campaign, and nobody still today gets the Chevy Volt, and it's just such a brilliant car. Okay, I love it. I love it. The Chevy Blazer. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Somehow Ford always knows how to rebrand. Ford's branding is spot on. Why does GM blow it every time? I don't know, man. I don't know. Doug DeMuro talks about this all the time. Why? When you go and unlock or lock your vehicle, the backup lights come on. Makes no sense. This has literally bugged every human being that's owned a General Motors for how many decades? And GM knows this. Unless they literally live in a completely like sealed bunker and they're hanging out with cockroaches like 3 miles underground, cockroaches and like nuclear missiles. That's where you're going to see this. Okay, like that's the only time GM would ever not know that everybody on planet Earth, billions of people by now, have complained because when you're driving through a parking lot and people are locking their car, when you're looking for a spot, it looks like this person's backing up. When the person has their door open, why, General Motors, do you have the backup lights on? Why? So we sit there, we back the cars up behind us. Fix that. Come on, guys. Do better. Do better. Okay? All right. In the news today, entrepreneurs reporting a lot of leaders blame their teams for slow work, but the real problem is the systems they're working inside. OMG. Systems over goals. Thank you, Scott Adams. That's right. If you have systems, they will outperform goals every time. And by the way, it wasn't like Scott Adams is the first one that actually, I think he's the first one that coined it that way, but we've all known this intuitively because we were all taught this story growing up called the tortoise and the hare. Holla! Okay, come on, guys. In the news today, Forbes is reporting the Supreme Court should rule today, but on those tariffs, but it's supposed to affect more than thousands of businesses. Okay, and there's thousands of businesses that are suing the Trump administration, asking for the tariff refunds. Because you guys understand how the tariffs work, right? So unless you're in business, you don't understand this. Okay. So let me explain to you how this works. I know because a good friend of mine owns a huge concrete foundation company. Okay. So, and he's been tariffed for years, right? So here's how this works. Who do you think pays tariffs? It's not a trick question. Actually, it is a trick question because we all think and we're told that whoever country that we are tariffing, they are actually paying the tariff. That is actually not true. That's not how that works at all. How this works, with tariff works, whatever product comes in from that country, by the time it hits the dock, it's got that markup for the tariff, which means the company in the US that wants this product that is being imported from one of these countries being tariffed, guess what happens? That company, okay, has to do what? Put that tariff on basically their COGS, cost of goods sold, right? They can't just eat it. I mean, unless you're big companies, you can eat it, but most companies can't eat that because a lot of industries are very, very lean on their profit margins. So if you got a 10% increase and you've got a 10% profit margin in what you do, you just lost. So what does that business have to do? They then have to take that increase and put it on the next estimate, right, that they give their US-based customer they're doing work for, which means the US-based company, okay, that is buying this product from this whole manufacturer in the States is paying the tariff that was put on in the States. So understand, all we're doing is pulling that money already out of the money supply, right? Remember, money is just fungible. Okay, so It's you don't make it. It's like matter. It's neither where they say and made it's or destroyed. It just matter is matter. It's not invented or destroyed. It's kind of the same thing. It's just it is what it is. It's just money. Okay, but the customer is paying for it. A U.S. based customer is paying the tariff. You understand this? Which means big businesses. Like, let me give you an example. You know that last year, one of the big things that the state of California did was make a mandatory $20 an hour minimum wage for fast food workers in California. Well, one of the things about that, though, and they did it purely because they needed the revenue for the state because they have to pay those state income taxes. But let me ask you something. You've got big, 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 huge companies like McDonald's, okay? And in that one state, they're obviously going to you know, they're going to comply with the law and they're going to make everybody $20 an hour. Okay. Now, the employee doesn't actually see any more money because more taxes come out and stuff like that. And basically, here's what happens. What does McDonald's do? Do you think that they just lose profit in California? Of course not. Your hamburger just got 20% more expensive. It just increased by 25 cents in California. Go to a McDonald's in California and go to a McDonald's in Alabama and tell me the price differences between the two. Okay? It's the states, standard of living. You get it, right? So it passes through, man. It all passes through. Okay. In the news today, oh, this is a biggie. Fast Company's reporting that the franchise, one of the latest franchise to close in the South, in Texas and Oklahoma entirely, is, and by the way, I don't think it's going to really surprise too many people in the deep South, but it's a franchise called Salad. Yeah, Salad. That's right. So I don't know if you've ever been to Texas, but we have these things called unlimited protein restaurants called Brazilian steakhouses. Okay. And Brazilian steakhouses do this one crazy thing where unequivocally the Brazilian steakhouses give the greatest salad bar you've ever seen in history. I'm telling you, they've got the eggs chopped up. They got the it's not just the bacos. They've got the bacon bits. Okay, like it's the chopped up real bacon, croutons, like the salad. And I walk in and I just look around and I'm like, idiot, moron, idiot, Dumbo, loading up their first thing as a salad. Are you serious right now? I'm about to have, because if you've been to these steakhouses, it's unlimited proteins. And you've got these servers and they're walking around like with this thing. And you have, like Poncho's, a green and red card. When you want it, you flip it green, right? When you don't, you flip it red. And all they do is walk around. Would you like some lamb, sir? Would you like some prime ribs, sir? Would you like some Grey Poupon, sir? That's what all they do is back. That's all they do. It's crazy. Okay. Why would anybody pick a salad over steak? Come on now. This is just common sense, people. Okay. So, yes, doesn't surprise me. Freaking Salads is going out of business in Texas. Duh. Okay. All right. All right. In the news today, Fast Company's reporting the average long-term mortgage rate rose to 6.16, up slightly from 6.15. I believe because one of the things that was in the news is that right here, Forbes is reporting that Trump is announcing $200 billion bond buying program to lower mortgage rates. That guy says, you know what? We're going to buy it back. And that's another way of saying quantitative easing. That's basically what we did during the 08 crisis, and really through all of that, quantitative easing is basically federal government buying bonds. It's basically like companies buying their own stock. I have faith here. They buy, but they're buying down that rate for us because he knows if he can get that rate down to 4 or 5% again, there's going to be a housing frenzy, which we know that activates, the market. The thing about him is he knows what the market wants. He knows what his audience wants. Okay. He is brilliant at knowing his audience. Okay. And he feels it. He knows what they want. And he wants them back being houses. He understands that it's not okay that, first-time home buyers are 35 to 40 today. That's not okay. So it's something we got to pay attention to. Okay. All right. What else do we have in the news today? I think that's about it, guys. why don't we transition into a quick little 7 plates lesson? And we did this yesterday, guys. And I want to encourage you guys today with a core value that I use every single day for the business and for personal. And it's called the best ideas value. Okay. And it's simple. And by the way, if you start doing this today, I guarantee it's going to revolutionize. If you're not already doing it, it will revolutionize your entire life. This one thing. And here it is. The next time you have to make a decision, all I want you to do is you have an idea and you're about to propose it to a spouse, to one of the kids, to whatever. And all I want you to say is before you do this, I want you to not think it. I want you to literally audibly say this. Okay, guys, we're going to try something new today. Here's what we need to get done. Here's my idea. But I want to try this. This is not my idea or your idea, but the best idea that wins. Okay, the best idea that wins. So I want you guys focused on removing the idea from your ego. Okay, because that's why people get offended. It's because of the ego. So if you detach it from you, like, grab that thing off your shoulder, right? And when you say best idea wins, what you did is you basically made it the idea a floating thing. It floats. Like you got it out of you, and now you got this floating idea. And now, but it's floating above your head, like right here. This idea is right here, right? And it's like not my idea or your idea, but the best idea that wins. And I'm telling you, it changed my life. And you guys know that what we do on this show is we want you on the way to work to be able to get 1% better. That's it. 1% better on this show. Okay. So before we wrap up, I always like to finish with a homage to our modern day oracle, Mr. Scott Adams. And I like to do a daily reframe from his latest book, How to Reframe Your Brain. And if you can, go and grab it. It is an amazing read. And today we're going to be in, I think it's chapter 4. Chapter 4, Social Life Reframes. And here it is. The usual frame, and a reframe, let me just kind of give you some context. It is basically a statement that makes no sense, but it literally changes your life. It alters your course, and it doesn't make sense subconsciously, but it just sets. And for whatever reason, it passes all the layers to your subconscious and hits you instantly. Okay. And the thing is, you don't know which of these is going to change your life. But I promise you, you hear enough of them, they will change your life. Some of these are guaranteed to change your life. Guaranteed, guaranteed, guaranteed. Okay. The usual frame. Be yourself. Remember, these are social situations, right? The usual frame is be yourself. But here is the new reframe. Become a better version of yourself. The new frame, become a better version of yourself. You want to know why? Because when you walk into a social situation and you see somebody that is like, man, I just really admire how they just grab the attention of the room. That is not, they have something, I don't have something. That is somebody. And when you walk in there, anything that you see that you start being envious of, instead of being envious, I want you to have this one thought. That's a skill, and I can have it too. God's no respecter of persons. If I have the same talent and apply the same effort, I can have the same result. Okay? Same thing. Okay? No respecter of persons, right? So for you, be the best version of you. For me, petrified of public speaking. One of my old partners, I was just mesmerized. He'd walk into a room and just everybody's drawn to him, life of the party. His confidence just oozed out of him. And I was like, and instead of getting mad and upset, I would just look at it and say, that's a skill that I don't have. And I need that skill. So I signed up for Toastmasters and was in it for years to learn the skill of being able to just speak in public. Then I started going to keynote speaking courses and classes and partnering with unbelievable keynote speakers and learning how to do keynote speeches and how to speak properly. And you'll see I'm just horrible at speaking. I say 1,000 times, but at the same time, I knew that was a skill that I could learn. And I want you guys to realize you're not a victim of anything. If you want it, go get it. Just go get it. Okay. It's yours. Just focus. I always quote the great Jerry Jones. He was talking at a Dallas Cowboy Luncheon the year before AT&T Stadium opened up, and I was sitting at a table, hundreds of tables, all seating 10 people, and he's getting up and he's speaking. And the thing about Jerry Jones is you don't, because he speaks so simple, you think he's dumb and you don't realize he's brilliant. He's brilliant. Okay. You the same way when you go listen to Scott Adams, you're like, I don't understand. And then, but go listen. I always tell everybody, do a 30-day Scott Adams challenge and tell me you don't come back a changed person. You get what I'm saying? Okay. So Jerry Jones basically comes in. He's like, hey, he gets up on stage and he says, here's this been the secret to my success. Dream big, dream big, dream big, and start planning for it. Dream big, dream big, dream big, and start planning for it. What? That means that we live closer to a simulation that we can just think of it and invent it. And as long as we stay focused on it long enough, we're going to get it. Like that's what makes life so amazing is it's engineered that way, right? And so dream big, dream big, dream big, and start planning for it, right? So that, my friends, is going to wrap up another episode of Business for Breakfast. Okay. So I want to give a couple quick reminders. Number one, you guys know that we start a new business mastermind group the start of every month. So if you are interested in getting into a mastermind group, I want you guys to go to speakwithaaron.com and book a quick call with me. Or you can go to businessforbreakfastradio.com and submit a question or an inquiry saying, hey, I want to be in the mastermind group. Okay, cool. Okay, let us know because they never cost. For us, our focus is just seeing you succeed. And there is no better success formula or guarantee for success formula than a mastermind group. 12 weeks, you'll get more done in 12 weeks than you did the last 2 years. So go to speakwithaaron.com, schedule some time with us real quick, or shoot me a quick little inquiry, businessforbreakfastradio.com. Also, if you guys need small business help, if you have questions, anything like that, you guys know we're one of the few small business accounting firms not owned by accountants, owned by small business owners. And many of you guys know my story. Years and years and years ago, I got railroaded by an accountant and said, I know how to do it better. I need to build a company for me. And so if you guys are needing assistance with anything, speakwithaaron.com. You can schedule a quick 15-minute call for us to chat, or go to businessforbreakfastradio.com and submit a quick little inquiry, and we'll get that done. And let's see what else. All right. That is it, guys. All right. Remember, if you think that it is hard or you think it's easy, you're right. What time is it, gang? Oh, it's time to get to work.